Hey everyone, welcome back to the Purpose Driven Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Robert, and today's episode is a great example of how analytical thinking, long-term vision, and community can come together to build real financial freedom. Our guest today is Sten, and he's a real estate investor and entrepreneur who has been investing in real estate since 2016. Sten studied computer science and mathematics. Instead of leaving those skills in the classroom or in a corporate environment, he's leveraged them to build a real estate investment business rooted in systems, logic, and intentional growth. Over the last several years, Sten has focused on land investing, and most recently, he's expanded into mobile homes, continuing to evolve his strategy while staying grounded on one core belief, that real estate is one of the most powerful tools for achieving financial freedom. What I appreciate about Sten is that he's not just focused on deals, he's focused on people. He believes deeply in the power of community and is passionate about helping others succeed through real estate investing. So Sten, I appreciate you joining today.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me, Robert.
All right, good deal. Well, Sten, let's start with your background. And I think we'd like to kind of just set the stage, learn a bit more about you. Can you talk about how your academic background has shaped your approach to investing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say my academic background, in the fact that I went away from it, was more the thing that shaped my investing background. When I finished school in '02, I was going to go do a winter season in the mountains, and I ended up doing 10 winter season in the mountains. And not only in the mountains in the States, it was in Europe. So I ended up living in Europe for almost 20 years. But through doing that, I was always having my fingers in different pies and trying to control my own destiny through entrepreneurship. I just didn't realize that the key to entrepreneurship was not these small things that I was doing over there, but looking much bigger. And for example, real estate is one of I think one of the best ways you can control your destiny. So I would say that's kind of how I've realized that's definitely the path forward for me.
Love that. So when did you first become interested in real estate investing?
I didn't know I was a real estate investor. Let's put it that way. So when we moved back to the States in 2020, I left my house in Portugal and I rented it out. And this was a house we had bought in 2015. It was we bought it for $120,000. We put probably 80 or 90 into renovations on the thing. And then we moved to the States with suitcases, and it was just simple. It was a backup plan. Let's just leave the house there. We'll put some renters in it. They'll pay our mortgage. The mortgage was nothing. And so we just went with it. It was $600 a month. And so we got here, and when I realized I was a real estate investor is when I realized I had an ARM. An adjustable rate mortgage on that place, and it went from $600 a month to $700 a month, but instead of the interest and principal being kind of like 50-50 more or less, it went from 90-10 to interest to principal. And I was what in the hell's going on here? So I talked with a friend over there. She was a realtor, and I said, what do you think we can get for this house? And she said, we could probably sell it for $500,000. And my jaw dropped. I was you got to be kidding me. And so we ended up selling it for around $420. So we made a good amount of money. I had to pay a lot in capital gains to Portugal, but whether or not I ever wanted to go back to Portugal again weighed heavily upon me, as in whether or not I was going to pay that $60,000 in capital gains. I ended up paying it. I didn't want that hanging over my head, but we ended up with a bit of money from that. So that's why I say I didn't really know I was a real estate investor until actually, that's what it was. I was investing in real estate. And so from that money that we got, it was kind of the inception of through Twitter, I had stumbled onto some people who were doing rocking and treeing on land. And I thought, that's fascinating. And then through that, I kind of stumbled into the vacant land scenario, and through stumbling into the vacant land scenario, I started I consume podcasts like this one,
There you go.
Religiously. So every morning I go for walks, I listen to podcasts. I try to listen to a lot of things. It's kind of I had a friend say, modern day podcasts are like plugging into the Matrix, where you can just download so much information that's free out there. Mm-hmm. And so from this, I discovered the land sharks. And through that, I got into land investing, and through Land Sharks, I met Robert, and we got into the mobile stuff. But maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself.
No, that's great. That's good. Man, what a story! Owning property in Portugal, renting out a $500,000 house for how much did you rent it out for?
It was like $1,000, and I felt guilty. I felt guilty. I was charging my friend that much because Portugal's like it's a poor country. Let's put it that way. But in 2020, when prices went bananas over here, prices went bananas over there as well. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about your first few years in real estate. What'd that look like?
Yeah, sure. It was a lot of confusion, not really knowing what I was doing, wasting a lot of money on mail, but kind of trusting the system, which is like the major problem. Like I think we all continue to have is, trusting the system that works. But yeah, when I started in 23, I wasted a lot of money in mailing to different areas. But I just kept religiously mailing and found found the first couple of deals. My first deal ended up being I bought it for 21 and I sold it on terms, and I held that note up until 2 months ago.
Okay.
And that note invariably I bought back. He wanted to get out of it, and I bought it from him, and it's actually going to be the second property that we put a mobile on. So
great.
It's funny how things come kind of full circle in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just a lot of mailing, a lot of raw stuff. I got into a lot of wholesaling actually, because I'm based in Florida, and so I've done a lot of my deals in Florida. And the one thing about Florida is that everybody in the country loves mailing Florida. So I'm dealing with, like maybe not you in South Carolina, where it's become more sexy to mail South Carolina now, and the Carolinas in general.
Don't tell anybody.
I'm not saying anything. But here, I was dealing with everybody mailing down here, so it was hard to find those, really good buy on 50 cents on the dollar. And so I was finding a lot of deals where they're like 80 or 90 cents on the dollar, and they're hard to make work when you're closing. It's like you're not gonna put yourself out on the edge for that. So I ended up like finding builders, just finding the pipeline, finding builders that wanted to buy these lots, a lot of infill lots, and was able to just do like a lot of wholesale deals. So, kind of between 3 and 7K. I think I had like a $10,000 wholesale deal on like 4 little lots, but they were all bunched together. So, $2,500 on each lot. But yeah, that was like the first year and a half. And that's kind of the bridge that took me into the next step here with mobile investing.
Yeah. Talk about how your strategy has evolved over time. And you can start with land and kind of from the start to where you've ended up in the land flipping game, and then kind of how you evolved into mobile homes as a strategy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the strategy kind of like, when you learn like the kind of the land flipping game, any podcasts out there, like it's a simple thing. You mail, you buy for cheap, you sell for more. Like it's a simple like rinse and repeat. But like being based in Florida, like I had said, the strategy really turned into a wholesale strategy, and I always thought that was a pejorative until like I found myself as a wholesaler. But what I try to separate myself from like other wholesalers out there is I try to have at least some morals where I'm not getting people under contract. That like I'm not getting you under contract until I know that builder's going to buy it, and I have those builders lined up. And because I don't think it's fair, for wholesalers they're giving everybody in the industry a bad name when they're tying things up and they don't have a dispo strategy. And so that was really how my strategy changed in doing like having that dispo pipeline set up. And through that I started my first enterprise, and then like my first company, and then I started another company with 2 other partners. One of them's a GC and the other one's a realtor, and we kind of like we went together, and we ended up putting a bunch of money together wholesaling to a couple of builders, and that we ended up with kind of 6 figures in the bank from all the wholesaling we did. And that was a bridge that brought us into, we had bought some land in Tennessee. We were talking of potentially building 1-bedroom apartments or 1-bedroom cabins with a swimming pool underneath in the Gatlinburg area, because there, prices are crazy up there. And that's like, if you can kind of build for $100 a square foot and sell sometimes for $200 to $300 a square foot. So it's, but it's a niche market. We had bought some land up there. We thought that was kind of what we wanted to do. We realized being in Florida and being that far away, it was kind of an impediment to what we wanted to do. And so I always had in the background, listening, like watching Brent talk about it, Brent Bowers from Land Sharks talk about the mobile stuff. It was always in the background. And I thought there was something whispering to me about, like, when I was up there, we were up in Tennessee, and I went for a walk one morning, and it was just like, I'm not one to normally talk to God myself, but like, I was like, am I on the right path? What are we doing? Is this what we want to be doing? And that evening we ended up meeting like a lady in we went to this tiny little hole in the wall bar, and we met this lady that, like, an older couple came and sat next to us. It was like me, the bartender, my business partners, and nobody else in the bar. It was just like hole in the wall. But they were really cool. It's called Beck's Bar in Sevierville.
Okay.
And so they sat down next to us, and she was in charge of the affordable housing with the county of Sevier County, Tennessee. And she had mentioned all these, like, benefits that they were trying to give for affordable housing, and to get, because there's no affordable housing there, Gatlinburg area, it's all based on tourism. So anybody that lives there, they're priced out. And so that kind of was like the initial, was like, man, affordable housing, this is like the thing. And then again, it was like, you just like whispers in the back of my head, like that mobile home stuff. And so from that, it was kind of the thing where I had to convince my partners, like, hey, I really think we should look into this mobile home strategy, because I think it's a really good strategy. So that's what kind of got us into the inception of doing mobile homes, or starting to do mobile homes back in May of this year.
Love it. That's awesome. All right, cool. So let's hop into to mobile homes. We can talk a little bit about land too, of course, because you got to have land to do the mobile homes. As you've been in this real estate investing, land flipping business, what's one lesson that you think only time in the market can teach you?
Consistency, I guess. You learn that lesson. It's one of those things that are drilled in you from the beginning, but you don't realize how important it really is just to be consistent. And I know that I've struggled this year with some of the consistency that I should have. As we've run into problems of, like, in Florida, a lot of the builders weren't buying anymore because the market's changed down here.
Right.
So that wholesaling strategy that I was using in the past wasn't working as well anymore. But I still, I'm talking right here, my phone starts ringing next to me. But being consistent with that mail, and getting that phone call from somebody that's held that piece of mail for 2 months and now they want to sell, but knowing that they've gotten 2 or 3 postcards from you and they keep seeing you, you can only have that kind of recognition with consistency, because you never know when people are going to call you.
Yep. I love that. And I think that the consistency is important. I think about my son, who's a junior in high school, sorry. He's interested in real estate. And, that's made me think about the long-term nature of this business and what I can do today, that so in 10 years from now, when he's part of the business, hopefully, and joins and wants to be successful, that if I do something today, that it's going to impact him 10 years from now, right? And it may be that person calling, simple as that, right? I mean, there's lots of stuff I could do, SEO, whatever, create a brand name and such, but it could be as simple as that guy that got my postcard, 5 years prior and said, hey, I'm going to give him a call. And that's going to, that creates a bit of a legacy. But I never thought of, like, the long-term nature of it before I started relating with my son and my son wanting to join. I always thought, like, hey, do this marketing and that's going to give me results for the next 3 months, but not for the next 10 years, right?
No, 100%. I mean, my children are 9 and 11, so they're a bit younger, but with the craziness in the world right now of we don't really know where industries are going to lead to, and future-proofing yourself and your family with something like housing that everybody needs is, you're building that that legacy for you and your family, and safety net for them as well, to give them work and whatnot in the future.
Love it. That's great. All right. So what surprised you the most about mobile homes on land so far?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
I'm sure there's a few things.
I think what surprised me the most is like, and I say this tongue in cheek, the simplicity of it. We've only gotten this first one under our belt right now. We're still waiting on the CO, but really the simplicity of it, where you can buy that piece of land, you can order that mobile home, and if you've done it correctly in 3 months, that thing should be listed. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty surprising, that being able to, as one of my favorite podcasters out there, Trevor Probant, always says, force appreciation. So how can you force appreciation? Where if it's clearing, putting culverts, subdividing, whatever. But I think the simplicity of forcing appreciation with putting a mobile home on a piece of land and the speed to it, apart from like stick builds here in Florida, the permitting process is so long. But this kind of short circuits that permitting process, where it takes 6 months potentially to get a permit before you're breaking ground. You can potentially have 2 mobile homes listed in that time. So I guess that's what I'd have to say about that.
I like that. That's one of the reasons we like it. That's probably the top reason. It's simple. It's predictable. It's the same process over and over again if you get it right from the start.
Yeah. I mean, I like what you said in one of the episodes with Brent. I listened to what you're saying about like showing God's love through affordable housing, and like the simplicity of that, being able to get somebody. And I don't want to sound like it's like you say things like this and you sound like you're all, I'm just another guy trying to make money. I'm not doing it for, like, I'm not trying to do it to be like, I need to look after myself and my family. But if you can provide a product for somebody that needs it, then it's feels good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've got to make money, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many other things that we can do beyond making money, right?
Yeah.
Provide that first-time homeowner their brand new house that they never thought they could own, right? And when we do that, that's where it's, when I talk about showing God's love through affordable housing, it's like, man, that's a special moment. And how can we make it even more special, right? And it's not necessarily, hey, I got to go and hand them a Bible at closing, right? It's just like, how can I show them that, hey, this is a really special moment, and really making it a milestone moment in their life, right?
Yeah, because a lot of people, they buy one, like for me and you, buying and selling land and housing and whatnot. It's normal, but a lot of people, they do 1 or 2 real estate transactions in their entire life, so it's a big moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy to forget that, but so you have to remind yourself every day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about community. I believe the power of community is a big deal for you. It's a big deal for me. Tell me a bit about community and why does community matter so much to you as you're out doing real estate and operating your business?
Yeah. I think that's a loaded question that we could go in a lot of different directions in, with like the meaning of community and how it's deteriorated here in modernity. But with real estate in mind, I think like, joining either like your mentorship group or Brent's mentorship group, maybe land in general is a lot more simple. But really when you join these groups, the community aspect of it, being able to talk with people and work and having that team set up, because like as I say, real estate's a team sport. So if you want to call it your team or your community that surrounds you, I think you're only as good kind of as the people you can work with, because without having that team or like people to talk to, like it could be lonely.
Yeah, 100%. So what's when you think about community, whether it's part of our group, the Land Home League that we run, or Brent's group at the Land Sharks, or any other group that you've been part of, it doesn't necessarily have to relate to this, those 2 groups. But the question is, how has being part of a group accelerated your growth?
I mean, I don't think I'd be doing mobiles without the group. You know,
Right.
that's I think I can say that for sure. I'm like I don't have problems like getting started and doing things. You know, like for me, it's like if I put my mind to something, I'll turn around and I'll do it. Obviously, the community aspect of being able to join this group, definitely, because like buying a piece of land for $30,000, you know, and turning around and flipping it for maybe 40,000 or 50,000, that's one thing. But you know, going $200,000 all in on land, a house, a septic, a well, you know, and all the other things involved in that, that's a whole nother thing. So having that community to rely upon, its knowledge has been, you know, super helpful.
I'll add too, Sten shows up almost every single call. And, you know, we notice, and I say it a lot when I lead our Tuesday calls, and I say it a lot on those calls. It's the guys and girls that show up that are doing deals and being pushed by the community, sharing knowledge within the community, which I love. You know, I think seeing you guys down in Florida, because we've got several people in Florida that are part of it, right, who could easily be considered competition amongst each other, but everyone's so willing to share of, hey, I use this guy, you should try him out, or hey, this worked for me, or hey, beware of this county. I think there's so much value in that.
Oh man, I can't say enough about that. And I didn't even think about when you said that, you know, that community aspect of we are in direct competition with each other. There will be a time where we have a house streets over from each other, you know, and having shared that knowledge with each other, because there's enough for everybody.
Go around.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, 100%. That's been great. And one other thing I just thought of as well is, you know, showing up for those meetings. You know, accountability is another thing. And I think a group, whether if it's a group of friends or a group of whoever, like keeping you accountable for what you say you're going to do. And, you know, it's easy to get all gung ho about like, hey, I'm going to do this mobile home thing, or I'm going to do this land thing. And you send out some cards and you don't get them, you don't get any responses. And of course, our, like, as entrepreneurs here, we're like up and down with things like, this is awesome, I hate it, you know, like in the same day potentially. But having that accountability of like making sure that, hey, are you still doing what you said you're going to do is
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. All right, let's touch on purpose and long-term vision. What's financial freedom mean to you?
Being able to spend as much time away from the computer as possible with my family. Just freedom. Like, I look at every dollar I earn as like a unit of my time I gave away that I can never get back.
Yeah.
And so if I can create enough money where I don't need anything special in my life, like it'd be great to have a house paid off and not have that kind of thing hanging over your head. I'd love to have 10 houses paid off and not having that over my head. But, you know, the simplicity of it, my kids are 9 and 11. I want to spend as much time with them as I possibly can over the next years, and before they're like doing their own thing. But yeah, just like financial freedom is just like freedom to do what you want, to get up that day and decide like, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to focus on that. And you controlling the reins of destiny, of your destiny, I think for me is financial freedom.
Love it. All right. What, let's go through a lightning round question. I've got 5 questions here, and this will be the last section, but lightning round questions. What's the best deal that you've ever done?
Best deal. As far as like profit and simplicity, we bought a piece of land not too far away from me here that we were going to put a mobile on. We got it for 25. We put it on Facebook, sold it for 50 3 weeks later. I mean, it was so simple. Like it just, we're like, okay, we'll go with that. So I'd say probably that's like the easiest 25K ever earned.
Love that. What's your toughest lesson that you've learned in real estate investing?
Toughest lesson. Man, I guess I keep coming back to it, just like to be consistent. You know, it's so simple. Like that's the thing I think that's the thing that's like the big anchor that's been dragging me back, is just like trying to be consistent.
Yep. Show up every single day. That's it's not, I mean, it's hard, right? but it's not really that hard if you just
No,
show up for
no.
every day. And that's what I've done for the 6 or 7 years. If I've been investing full time, it's just show up, Some
Yeah.
days, there's a lot of days I don't want to show up, but
Yeah.
just show up and do it. All right.
100%.
What's a tool that you rely on?
I mean, I built my own CRM, so that's a tool that I rely on. Let's put it that way.
Of course, you're the software guy. Build your own CRM, right?
Like some idiot. Or you can just use something out there. No, I mean, I built that. It's helped a lot. It's helped us a lot in what we need. Helped me a lot in what I was lacking from using other packages out there. So I would say that for sure.
That's great. Is it for sale?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. It's called Landbridge. Landbridge.app. It's out there. You can look at it.
All right.
The intention was to have a CRM that I could offer for a cheaper price than Pebble or something like that out there.
Yeah.
But I saw a shiny object that I was like, I'm going to be dealing with people who have problems, and they're going to be bothering me, and it's not worth $500 extra a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I said no.
Nice. Okay. Last question here in the lightning round is, what does purpose-driven investing mean to you?
That's a good question. I feel like I keep saying that. I don't know. Purpose-driven investing. I mean, having a purpose in your investments. No, I don't.
Like it.
I don't know.
think you talked a lot about your kids, right? And about your time and, trading every dollar as a unit of time you didn't spend with your kids, right? So
yeah.
I assume there's a lot to do with having the purpose around spending more time with your kids or.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, having that purpose of like building something. I mean, I turned 46 this year here, and it feels like I was 25 like last week. It's so crazy how fast. And so having that purpose in actually doing something that I can see a growth to the next thing, and the land was the stepping stone to the next thing, which took me to the mobile homes, and hopefully the mobile homes will be the stepping stone to whatever the next thing is. So definitely having that purpose in mind.
Cool. All right. Well, Sten, I appreciate you joining. How can people reach out to you?
Yeah, you could
find you on social media.
I don't really have anything, to be honest with you. I mean, my name, you can Google my name, and I think I'm the only one in the world that has my name. So
that's a great thing, right?
Yeah. Or you can go check out Landbridge.app. There's like a hey at Landbridge there. You can reach out to me from that.
All right, cool. Well, hey, I appreciate you joining, and really appreciate the time. I know your time's valuable, and we're all busy, so thanks for spending a few minutes with us. But and everyone else that's listening here, thanks for joining. If you want to reach out to Sten, feel free to reach out. If you want to learn more about land home investing, reach out to us too. We'd be happy to teach you how to do that and what are the skills needed to make that happen. All right, Sten, appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. I mean, if you want to give me a call, my number is 904-325-6275. I'm always open to talk. Let's go. Thanks, Robert.
All right. See ya.